Okay. 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 We're back. I don't know if it's better. It's probably going to be a little bit better. But it'll probably be 720p. Okay. Well, folks can tell me if they come in what they think of this version of affairs. I'll sing a song. What's a song? What song do you want me to sing? I have to know what the song is, obviously. What songs have I been listening to recently? I've been listening to a lot of songs where the lyrics are not super clear. And as much as I like Money Machine, we'll have fun at Dave and Buster's. Thank you. I'm not gonna redo hello. I said I wouldn't. So I have multiple lights going right now. Like this is I'm definitely doing way too much. I have a light here that you can't really see the color on because the whole thing is a little needlessly blue. And then I have this light, which is just straight up blue, and then I have like a main light. Great. Yeah. So I went from using OBS, which allows the video to be higher quality. And now I'm just fucking using like the webcam through the YouTube streaming thing. It's fine. The only real reason I need OBS is if I'm like trying to show videos of other things. So not worth it. So Dave and Buster's, I went to Dave and Buster's immediately after after Reel, my short film that some of you have seen, possibly. Immediately after Reel showed, the movie theater was in the same building as the Dave and Buster's. And so we went to Dave and Buster's, and they gave almost every single person the wrong food. And so they just gave us a ton of Buster money or whatever, the Buster Bucks, whatever the fuck they call them. Dave and Buster's. And so that was like a whole, ordeal. We were there for like 2.5 hours, and it was fine. It's not like I had anywhere else to be. But it was kind of like, are you fucking kidding me? Fortunately I wasn't paying. It was being the meal was being gifted to me, so like I didn't, and I got to hang out with people, several of whom came up for the festival who I hadn't seen in literally years. So it was actually, oh yeah, so Dave and Buster's is a massively overpriced like diner type thing where they also have oh wow. They also have an arcade, and that's really the big thing. Is like it has an arcade, and they have a lot of arcade games, and like tickets and things. So it's kind of like a slightly more grown up version of Chuck E. Cheese. I guess there's no like mascots, but it has like all of the games like that. But it's meant for older people, and they serve alcohol. So I mean, maybe Chuck E. Cheese serves alcohol. I haven't been to one of those in an extraordinarily long time. But yeah, so that's basically what a Dave and Buster's is. Yeah, that's obnoxious. I don't know what Peter Piper's is. I'm assuming it's a similar thing. One of the problems with auto blocking of comments is, if someone says fuck, then I have to like I have to be like, it's fine, you're allowed to say fuck in my my chat room. But if they say reviews are objective, I have to do it manually. It's so annoying. No, say fuck. I don't give a shit, dude. But it's like it's something that I'm aware of. Like obviously I'm reading the chat. Um, so what else am I doing with my life? Um, but I think about that kind of thing. You know, I wish you could. I wish you could get context. I'm looking forward to the point where AIs can get context, sort of. Like it'll be good and terrible, right? Like it'll be terrible for society, but it will be convenient if I still have a YouTube channel. And so I'm working on the Hannibal review. So my original plan. So the reason I didn't do a review last week was because I was working on my Hannibal review, and like that's gonna I don't want it to be really long. I'm really irritated at myself that I keep doing these like 20 plus minute reviews and I don't want to keep doing them. Um, but like I want to really sit with my thoughts on Hannibal for a little while to make sure that I feel like good about it. A lot of I mentioned in my like year 2 thing that like this channel is sort of built on hot takes. Um, but I want to have a little bit more on Hannibal, especially because it's so beloved and also because I'm so late to the game, right? Like, and I, so I'm working on the Hannibal review. I also played, but part of the problem is instead of writing the Hannibal review, I ended up spending a lot of last week playing a video game, which I hadn't really done in a while. Um, so I didn't really make nearly as much progress on the Hannibal review as I had intended. So I decided that I would not do Hannibal for this week, nor would I review that game this week, but I probably will review it at some point because it made me think a lot of interesting things, interesting to me. Um, so, and then, but I have spent, I've been watching all of Charlie Kaufman's movies. So see if you can guess what I'm going to be reviewing next. I watched Adaptation yesterday. I watched Being John Malkovich for the first time. Don't tell anyone. Like a few weeks ago. This morning, I watched Confessions of a Dangerous Mind and Human Nature. As soon as this is over, I'm going to watch Synecdoche, New York, and then I have to watch. I'm thinking of ending things, which is a very relatable title. Yeah, Eternal Sunshine is Eternal Sunshine and Anomalisa are the only two I'd actually seen before. So now I'm just like doing a mass catch up so that my review that I spend, my hope is to actually get it up on Monday and do a Monday video for the first time in quite a while, talking about I'm thinking of ending things, but I guess we'll see. I'm alone this week. I've been like left alone this weekend, so I have, kind of nothing else to do. That's what I've, yeah. I mean, I imagine I will like it, and I'm definitely going to talk about it. That's why people always complain that, because I like for the first few minutes of my review to be context, right? And sometimes that means talking about other movies. Sometimes it means talking about the world. Sometimes, it could be talking about any number of things. But, it is important to me that whatever it is, it starts, basically, I want to explain why I'm doing something, right? You know, because if I can't justify why I'm reviewing something beyond just like, oh, I think it's popular, then what am I doing? Right. Like it needs to be something that I can say other things about. And if it's a filmmaker, I want to be able to talk about the filmmaker more broadly. And be able to do that. And so, in the case of Charlie Kaufman, it's like, I know who he is because of Sunshine and also because I saw Anomalisa. But, I'd never really dug into his work the way that I know that I should have. And so it's like, this is this is almost an excuse to finally knock those off of my bucket list or whatever, like finally see Adaptation, which, wow, it is so weird that that movie exists. That movie is a lot like, it reminds me a lot of, hello, thank you. I appreciate that. Adaptation is really weird in the same way Being John Malkovich is weird in that onto it. But like, he sort of had a reason, whereas like the woman whose book is being adapted in Adaptation, like it is like, I know that she initially said no, but I am shocked that she eventually said yes. Like, if you haven't seen Adaptation, you got to see Adaptation. It's on Tubi, so it's free with ads. Like that movie's fucking bonkers. Hello Nature, or Human Nature rather, is extremely strange. No, no, it's just really fucking weird. It starts on the set of Being John Malkovich. Like it's an extraordinarily strange movie. And I loved it. Human Nature is, in like the first 5 minutes, Patricia Arquette naked and like covered in hair, like just so much hair, like all over her body, sings a song to squirrels while climbing a tree. So that gives you a sense of what kind of movie Human Nature is. And Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is, as far as I can tell, the most straightforward thing he's ever done. That was George Clooney's directorial debut. And I think George Clooney is a very competent director. I liked Good Night and Good Luck a lot. And the concept behind Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is weird, but like in context with his other movies, his other scripts, it's just like it's really not all that odd. So I think The Social Network's great. It's been a while since I've seen it. My screenwriting professor had a really, really long rant about The Social Network, and specifically how he thinks the screenplay is bad. The dialogue is so much stuff. His point about the screenplay. So, a screenplay is more than just two people talking to each other. But if you actually read the screenplay for The Social Network, it's really just a lot of dialogue, like pages of dialogue with the occasional, thing in between them. And my screenwriting professor's point is that you should never do that, because that's like it's a theater script. It's not a film script. You're not really directing. Yeah, right. And so the reason that The Social Network, why everyone thinks that The Social Network has a good script, is because David Fincher took the dialogue and like made it amazing, right? Like, because it's not just about the words people are saying, it's the way they say them and like the beats, where people pause and whatever. And like, whenever I write a screenplay, I try to like write in the beats, like write in the moments of pause where like, Jesse Eisenberg stops to take a drink, and it's like that moment is very, very important, and that kind of thing just isn't in the screenplay for The Social Network. In general, like every once in a while, but like by and large, it's mostly just like the dialogue and like scene setup. And that's fine. Like, but also you need a good director. Like what that functionally means. I like Birdman a lot. But I think, I know people who absolutely hate it. And I think that Film Crit Hulk has a piece on why he thinks it's awful, and he just really doesn't like Inarritu at all. And I understand why, but I also disagree, and that kind of gets my thing about Birdman, and it's why I like. I think that movie is stylistically super interesting. I am totally convinced that like the underlying story is bullshit and everything, but I think the idea of telling a story set in a theater in a single take that is almost always in medium close up is so fascinating. Like a medium shot or closer is super interesting just stylistically, because by being a long take, you sort of have the feeling, it has the feeling of being a play, right? Because you're just like constantly walking through this single area. And yeah, I talk about One Cut of the Dead in my review of the Dude's follow-up. And it's like having one take. I mean, I talked about it literally 2 weeks ago in my Crazy Samurai Musashi review, because that's an actual one take, unlike the scene in One Cut of the Dead, which was a fake one take, which is too bad, but it's fine. Crazy Samurai Musashi is such a fascinating movie, y'all. Like it's one of the most, I think it is like objectively the most interesting action movie of like the last 5 years, right? Like there are better action movies for sure, but I don't think any of them are nearly as interesting as Crazy Samurai Musashi. The last one that I think was that interesting probably is John Wick, because of the way John Wick sort of changed the game. Memories of Murder is so good. If you search my name and The Last of Us Part 2, you can find my review on the Daily Beast. I did an entire live stream where I just complained about The Last of Us Part 2, basically. I mean, you can't find it because it's unlisted, but like I did do that. Right? Was anyone there? Can anyone confirm or deny that that was a thing that I did? Yeah, on whatever day this was. I need to talk about The Last of Us Part 2, and I was just like complaining for a while. But so back to Birdman. I've never met someone with the name Alec with a K, so I don't have any opinions on them. Is that a name elsewhere? I'll talk about Bong Joon-ho after I finish my thoughts on Birdman. So, the idea. So, a single take makes something feel kind of like a play, whether that's what they want or not. Because you're aware. One of the things that I think about, and admittedly, I was in theater, so I probably think about this in a way that other people don't, is that when something goes wrong in a play, you don't get to stop and go back to one. You just keep fucking going, right? And I talk, and there's a story I've told a few times, but I'm actually not sure if I've ever told it on YouTube, where so I was in Death of a Salesman in high school, right? In my community theater. And spoilers for Death of a Salesman, the salesman dies, right? And he wants to kill himself. And I went to so we skipped in the first act the part where it is revealed that Willie's going to kill himself, or wants to kill himself, or tried to kill himself. And that's bad, objectively. I remember the moment it happened. I remember it very vividly because I was playing the character Happy, and the guy who was playing Biff, we were having a scene together, and Linda was there, and it was the three of us, and Biff said, like, shouted in response to one of my lines, and I knew that he said the wrong thing, but I didn't know what, and I was like, but the problem is, like, I didn't know what he had missed, but I knew what my response was, because instead of like learning in sequence, I learned, okay, he says this and my response to that is that, specifically because if someone fucks up, you want to be able to respond to the thing that they're saying. Um, and uh, yeah, I'll fucking block you if you spoil Tenet, because I obviously cannot see it because movie theaters. Cool. So anyway, Biff says, like, screw you to me, and he shouts it, and I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, we skipped something. I hope it wasn't important. And the scene kept going. We skipped the most important part of the entire first fucking act. Whoops. And in the second act, and so, like, the scene, it ended, whatever. The director didn't even notice. Like, he just missed, like, it was so seamless. Like there was no pause, there was nothing. We just fucking skipped like a page of the script. And he was like, "You're doing great." And Linda was like, "We fucking skipped the right." And so in the second act, the girl who played Linda did the entire scene that we had skipped one-sided, because she was like on the phone, and so she did the entire thing, including like being like prompting herself. It was genuinely incredible. It was one of the most impressive things I have ever seen in my entire life, was her like pulling this scene back and then like doing her own scene. So like this scene of hers that's supposed to be like 5 minutes ended up being like 10 of like just her like figuring out on the fly how to make this work. And like, you know, infinite respect for her forever. Um, but like that, I think about that kind of thing now every time I'm watching a play, because that kind of thing can happen and it doesn't matter. The only way anyone knows you fucked up in a play is if you tell them you fucked up. Like, if you pause and you're like, "Ugh," someone's gonna be like, "Oh, they messed up." But if you skip a few lines, no one's gonna know, right? But there's always the chance for something to go wrong. And I find that, and that's one of the reasons I like live theater, because that tension is really exciting to me. Like I really enjoy the tension of, like, will something go wrong, but like also just, everyone knows that this is happening and we're just going to keep going until it's over. And movies aren't like that, unless you're watching like Victoria or most of Crazy Samurai Musashi, because like once something commits to actually being one take, you know, they can't fuck up, right? And if they fuck up, you just have to go with it. In Victoria, there's a scene where the actors start freaking the fuck out, and it's because the woman who's driving a truck missed her fucking turn, and like, but they're like almost 2 hours into this shot, and it's like they can't cut. They just have to fucking deal with it, and it's like that moment is so real. And like, it's not just real in the movie, it's real because of everything that was going on at the time. And so Birdman, even though it's a fake one take, does give me a little bit of that like vibe of, you're in theater and anything could go wrong at any point, and like, how would people deal with going back to one? And so that's the reason. And but at the same time, it's always close to the actor. Like, you never see like a wide shot of everyone. And so like that is why I think Birdman is really interesting. Like, it is a purely stylistic thing, but that's okay with me. And now I had some water. Where did I put it? I'm gonna get some water. I'll be back in like 12 seconds. Oh man, I cannot even fathom like messing up in the context of like a full band. Like, that's different. I'll be back in like 20 seconds. I promise. If you ever get up to go to leave your table, at a restaurant, put your mask up. Also, wear a mask all the time, guys. Also, Baby Yoda is a member of Antifa. So, okay, let me go look. So there are some questions. Oh, my favorite Bong Joon-ho movie, honestly, is probably Parasite. Because I'm pretty sure that's the argument I make in my YouTube review of it. If I had to rank them, Parasite, Memories of Murder, his American movies would be at the bottom. Probably be Snowpiercer, Okja, Barking Dogs Never Bite, Mother, Memories of Murder, The Host, Parasite. I think The Host is my number 2, actually. Although, man, Memories of Murder is really good. Really, really good. No, I don't think. I do not think that there's a movie that had a better year than Parasite. Yeah, my issue with his it's not that I don't like. I talk about Parasite with a Y in my video about whatever. My video about movies, anime, live action anime. So, oh hello, greetings. Buenas noches, whatever day it is. Yeah, Memories of Murder is really, really good. I would, if I really went down to it, I think I would get stuck between The Host and Memories of Murder, and just like as the number 2 slot. Really, I mean, those and Parasite, like those 3 are just like so fucking good. Like any of 99% of filmmakers will never have one movie anywhere near as good as any of those 3. The fact that Bong Joon-ho fucking has 3 movies at that level and he's not done is mind-blowing. Like, he is such a good director, right? Still not my favorite Korean director. I've talked about that. I think Old Boy is really interesting. I like it a lot. One of the first Korean movies I saw. It is my second favorite part of my second favorite film in the Vengeance trilogy. Maybe I'll review the Vengeance trilogy one day. I talked about Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance in a video I did, but I never really talked about Old Boy or talked about them entirely. Is that something people would be interested in? Was the question? I'll think about it. You say, are you trying to, Sala? Are you saying thoughts on Kim Ji-woon's films? Because if you're If that's what you're asking, I have a video specifically about that. Kim Ji-woon is my favorite director. Um, so yeah, okay, that's something I'll keep in mind. Um, I I had like meant to write something about the Vengeance trilogy like a decade ago, and I just never. It's fine. I'm just making sure I understand. I know someone who's perfectly fluent in English, and sometimes I need to ask, like, who's native English speaker, and sometimes I need to ask him if he meant what he said because he's just very bad at spelling. So like, don't worry about it. But yeah, if you meant thought on Kim Ji-woon's films, I have a review of his sophomore feature, The Foul King, wherein I talk about literally every single one of his movies briefly. Um, yeah, I Saw the Devil is incredible, and incredibly difficult to watch. That movie, I use that as an example of um, a movie that is so well made that it overcomes how fucking horrible it is. Um, like, there are a lot of movies that are just like cruel for the sake of it. Like they don't really justify their cruelty. They're just like, torture porn, I guess. Um, I Saw the Devil is one of the only movies I've ever seen that just by sheer force of being like incredibly well made, just like steamrolls the fact that it's horrible. And it's just like, oh my God, this is so good that I'm not even thinking about how horrendous it is, except now I feel like my life is ruined, right? Um, and not quite to that extent, but like that life ruining thing is sort of how I feel at the end of any Lee Chang-dong film. Uh, yeah, for a second I was like, oh, I should go get my Blu-ray copy of Eighth Grade because I have a Blu-ray copy of Eighth Grade, but that would require me to like disconnect from this, and that would be super annoying. I like Eighth Grade a lot. I think it's um, Solo is Solo has a purpose. Like the violence in Solo means something. The violence in um I Saw the Devil is just like pure nihilism. Like it is just violence for the sake of it. Like there's no justification. It just is. And yet it's good, right? That's the difference. Like, The Nightingale is a film kind of like Solo, where it's like this is fucking horrible, but it has a purpose. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, I like Eighth Grade. I mean, I love Bo Burnham. Um, I love Bo Burnham so much. Uh, Maybe one of these days I'll review Make Happy and give it a 10, since I've already broken the 10 barrier anyway. Um, but no, eighth grade is really interesting because I've mentioned before that I really, really like coming of age stories about high school girls. Like for whatever reason, I feel I relate to them really hard. Like Edge of 17, like feels like just like that's me. I mean, I talked about this briefly in my like when I talked about Booksmart. But eighth grade signaled a shift in my life where for the first time ever, I felt for the dad more than I felt for her. Um, and I talk about I'm pretty I talk about both of them. I reviewed The Lighthouse, man. I have like 100 reviews at this point. Like I have so many fucking reviews on this goddamn YouTube channel. Uh, but I would say probably The Vivitch. I love The Lighthouse, but if you know, I think I like The Witch more. The Witch was more shocking in its goodness. Um, I haven't seen Border. It is on Hulu. Someone asked me if I'd seen Relic. I don't know what that is, so sorry. The answer to that question is no. Um, Relic. This sounds familiar. Maybe someone recently told me to see it. Oh, it's new. Relic 2020. Ooh, people like it. I know who she is. Top voted tags on Relic: slow, boring, confusing, creepy, dark, unsettling, disturbing. Sounds right up my alley. I've heard Border is really good, but I have not seen it. But to finish my thought on 8th grade, like, she gets all mad at her dad because he's like, trying to take care of her or whatever. And, she's like, she's like, I don't care. I don't understand. And like for the first time, I like actively had the thought, fucking kids. And it's just, it happens, right? Like at some point you stop relating to children. And probably for the best. A similar movie to The Lighthouse. Huh. That's an interesting question. Yeah. Yeah. Like fucking Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Or like Nosferatu or something like that is probably the closest thing you're going to get. Yeah, no, that movie is hella expressionistic. Yeah, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Yeah. Oh, well, Jim Jam, that's late. That's late, man. I haven't stayed up till 3 a.m. in a while. I can't anymore. Like I used to. That's a lie. I've stayed up past 3 a.m. I think fewer than 10 times in my entire life. It's just not like it's not a thing. I've never really been able to function on minimal sleep, and my body tends to wake up between 6 and 8 no matter what I want to do. So I need to get to sleep. Like, I go to sleep at fucking 1 a.m. and I still wake up at fucking 7. So, yeah, Robert Eggers remaking Nosferatu. If someone had to remake Nosferatu, I think it would be really interesting. Didn't I talk about the act of killing in a video? I think I did. Yeah, I think I talked about the act of killing in my best of the decade list. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, on that note, something like The Lady Vanishes. The Lady Vanishes, the Hitchcock film has some like expressionistic shit going on. So the act of killing is not one of my favorite movies of the decade, but I think it is like objectively one of the most significant movies of the decade. Oh well, yeah, he should remake Nosferatu then. But yeah, it's a but I'm almost positive. Like I wrote a thing to talk about the act of killing. It would be weird if I didn't. Like I think the act of killing is an extremely boring movie that's incredibly important. Like just by function, but like what it is, it is telling the story of how this became boring. Like how it became just like, oh yeah, these fucking people can just like talk about murdering, um, you know, and it's like it's so awful what they're saying, but it's like, yeah, they're celebrated and they're like talking about why, um, like their favorite child age is for assaulting because and it's like that's such a ugh, right? But it's boring. It's boring to watch because it's a lot of like sort of uninteresting conversations because they're not interesting people. They're just bad. And like so it's kind of and so it's interesting to see them, but like they are not themselves interesting. Um particularly. I don't think. There are like I wish they showed more of the films. I think I would have liked it more if it was less of them and more of the work that they did, because I think the most profound moments tend to come like the part where like, he's being suffocated, and like it almost seems to register for him for the first time, like what the experience must have been like. And it's like that kind of thing, like that moment, amazing, right? Like one of the best moments in a movie, probably. But there's a lot around it that's just not like that. Yorgos Lanthimos is awesome. Dogtooth is really interesting. I kind of want to see more of like I know that like he's like part of a wave of like weird Greek movies. And I'm kind of interested in seeing other things from that time. But like The Lobster was one of my favorite movies of that year. I think it is the perfect indictment of Tinder. Killing of a Sacred Deer is very it's very good. The Favorite is great. Like just dude's really good. And very, very specific. And I really am super glad that he has clearly been embraced by a certain subset of Hollywood in a way that a lot of international directors have not. And that he hasn't like lost his edge in the process. So yeah, I'm really happy about about Yorgos Lanthimos's success. Yep. Any other questions? I think I made my point about why I hate objective reviews in my previous video. Oh yeah, Robert Eggers is a thing about Vikings. That's gonna be hype. Because I'm sure he's gonna go for the same like bizarre, like intense, basically real version, right? I was like, this is like, oh, this is actually what it was like to be a fucking Viking. Which makes me think they won't have horns on their helmets. And like someone will be like, Rob, we need them to have horns on them. It's like, but they didn't actually. Yeah, I mean, I think Eggers is one of the more interesting filmmakers, out there, right? Like, just in terms of like, certainly one of the more interesting American filmmakers. Yeah, I would put him. The Batman trailer was really good. I think that Robert Pattinson is a really good actor. And I usually don't watch trailers, but I was like, they've only shot like a third of the Batman, so it is literally impossible for them to show at least 3/4 of the movie in this trailer. So I may as well. Hey Zach. So, but how well a filmmaker achieves their goals is ultimately a subjective statement, right? Like, because it's how well you feel they achieve their goals. Like there is no objective everyone, this guy Zach, he's seen like 5,000 movies, so he knows way more about movies than I do, so listen to him. But no, the title is completely serious. And if anyone like shows up in one of my comment sections and is like, hi, this review is not objective, I instantly block them from the channel. Like, and that's my new policy as of last week, because someone complained about my subjective criticisms, and I was just like, fuck this guy. That might be true. Although these days none of us have a life, so what does that mean? But so because I also do my best to when I'm reviewing something to think about, did the to get on the level of the movie. So, my review of um my review of Assassination Nation. Um, Hopefully the longest review I ever do. I really don't want to do another video that long, but so my video of Assassination Nation, um, about 2 hours after I posted it, someone complained on a different one of my videos about it was like on my review of Spring Breakers, and it was like, you should watch Assassination Nation because it's terrible. Blah. I was like, that's funny because it's my favorite movie, and I literally posted about it 2 hours ago, and so she like then went and then fucking like live blogged her reaction to it and called me a bitch, which was like really just like double it, like because there's a section where I said like I did an aside and it was like the people who um it's like most people who don't like me have already left, and then she was like, bitch, I'm still here. So it's like, one, you're acknowledging that you don't like me, and also you're calling me a bitch, which is just like like that's like doubly mean. But her problem was like, she was like, well, it's not like the feminism is bad, right? Like the feminist themes of Assassination Nation are bad. And, there's an argument to be made that that is the case or that it's not the case, but I didn't make that argument. At no point in that video do I mention, uh, at no point in the video do I mention, feminism, and there's a reason for that. And it's like, because that's not really specifically relevant to why it works for me. And I was like, and I said to her, I was like, you need to get on the film's level. You can't expect the film to be something else. Like, yeah, you will also hate, um, so, yeah, so it's like, it's a, it's like, and so I always try, my point is I always try to get on the movie's level and like understand what it's going for, unless like I'm not going to get on like Nazi propaganda's level and try to be like, oh, did this do a good job Naziing? Like, fuck that, but in general, if assuming that it was made in good faith, I want to judge whether I think the movie was successful on its own terms, and then, think about it more broadly. But like, whether I think it was successful on its own terms is not an objective statement. Like, there is no, it's like, you know, okay, objectively, it is, a movie is 96 minutes long and it wanted to be a movie that is under 2 hours. Like, oh, it succeeded, right? Like, what does it mean to be objective? Because all objective means is just descriptions. And like, if you're coming to a YouTube review to get a description of a thing, I don't know, that's sad. Okay, so I have a feeling about Subversion, but I wanted to respond to Oresti's thing real quick, because I have feelings on Subversion, or doing things as a form of subversion. So, I use a teleprompter, and I'm used to it now. It's really, yeah, sure, but just because just because a movie is poorly lit doesn't make it good or bad. Right? Like, and that's the thing, is like, yeah, you can speak was like, like, this doesn't work, right? I could not see the actors. The editing was done in such a way that, like, you cannot follow the story. And like those are semi-objective statements, but like it is how you feel about that is still subjective. Like some people might like editing that is effectively nonsense. So, okay. The way I do things in one take is I'm just used to it at this point. Honestly, I used to have to do more takes. I mean, like I used to have to do like I would do 3 takes and then I would usually use the third one. And part of it is I have my little asides, so I actually, if I mess up, I usually only have to redo up to like 6 minutes instead of like 13. My videos have also gotten substantially longer and I say a lot more words. Um Yeah, I mean, Michael Bay's movies look very good, but it doesn't make them good, right? Like just because you're technically competent doesn't make you that doesn't mean your movies are good, and just because you're technically incompetent doesn't necess- necessitate that your movies are bad. They probably are, like almost definitely, but also maybe they're not. I mean, you look at YouTube, like if you look at my videos on YouTube, I would put like my like whole setup, obviously not right now because my fucking side deck is all blown out. Um, but like I would say that um um I genuinely believe that like my YouTube channel is in like the top 5% in terms of just like the basic look, like the lighting, the camera, everything. Like I genuinely believe that my channel looks really good and way above average, right? Um, but that doesn't mean my YouTube videos are inherently better than someone who does not have the lights and the nicer camera and all of that shit, right? Like um so, you know, I'm sure he said that. And so it's like that's um thank you. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I put a lot of, I put work into, making them look good. And it's like, yeah, cool. Like I'm glad. Um, I would say, uh ContraPoints is definitely above me. Philosophy Tube, people who have like actual crews and sets tend to look better. But I think although Natalie Wynn does her own thing. Um, like honestly, I think she's got like the best production value of any like single person on YouTube. Um, like for sure. She just posted a new video. I haven't watched it yet. Very excited. Big fan of ContraPoints. Um, so yeah, but like, so so one of the reasons I was thinking about objective reviews actually was because Jack Saint Jack, I don't know. I some left tube media criticism, right? I I think it's Jack Saint. Um, you know, I like he'd posted something about I didn't invent it, but I'm not referencing anybody. Nothing that I do is a reference to, and like I'm just doing things the way that I want, the way that I want to do them. Um like it's yeah, I mean my version of YouTube is very similar to most other people's, but like, it's not specifically inspired by anyone else's. I mean, I don't know anyone else. I don't know anyone who doesn't do jump cuts. Um, like just straight up, I do not watch a single person on YouTube who does not use jump cuts. Um, with the possible exception of um Good Mythical Morning, kind of doesn't. But they use other things, but they don't really use jump cuts, but like their whole thing is obviously very fundamentally. But anyone who's like reviewing, like I've never seen a reviewer who actually appears on camera. Obviously, you can never tell, if someone who does not appear on camera is jump cutting. They definitely are. But yeah, I mean, my specific style of shooting videos is not one that anyone I've ever seen has. But so my point about Jack Saint is, so, he appears in a couple of his videos and his video quality is fucking terrible, right? Like it's just bad. Like his videos just do not look good. But I mean, his video about Bon Appetit is better than, I don't know, anything I've done. I mean, I like my Assassination Nation review. I mean, I like a lot of my reviews, but like, the fact that his video is really bad is not like, has nothing to do with the quality of what he puts out ultimately. Just like, but I like to think that the quality of the video that I use sort of makes a promise for like a broader point about the content of the channel. And I want to believe that, what I put on this, like what I say on the screen, Matt like justifies, like matches sort of the visual quality. Sometimes I don't tend to watch reviews. I do watch video essays though. Like Thomas Flight, big fan. And but the thing that's funny about Thomas Flight is the reason I know about Thomas Flight is because he did a video about Parasite, and my video about Parasite got like massively recommended. So like there was a brief period where like 10% of my channel traffic was coming from a Thomas Flight video. So I like went over to his channel and I've been watching his stuff. And I think Thomas Flight makes really good video essays. But I tend not to watch just like review channels. Because like I have watched Chris Stuckman videos. I've watched like I watch Action Button reviews. There's only 2 of them so far, but like I will watch anything Tim Rogers puts out. But I mean his 2 to 4 hour reviews are really more video essays than they are reviews. Yeah, like anything that just calls itself a review, I don't watch them, generally speaking, because I don't want to. So there are, yeah, Thomas Flight is super good. Okay, point about sexualization. Something I think about a lot is in the Simpsons video game. Is super self-referential, and there were all of these dumb things, like one of the functions, like there are a lot of invisible walls, and a big thing would come up and be like, man, what's up with all these invisible walls, guys? And I like Red Letter Media sometimes. Yeah, Simpsons Hit and Run, that's the one. And so Red Letter Media's review of The Last Jedi is very bad. Yeah, I mean people have like compared my reviews to Chris Stuckman, and I find that really irritating, and I think that's unfair to both of us. Like he and I are going for very different things. Like my shortest videos are longer than his longest videos, and I also talk faster than he does. So like in terms of word count, I'm sure that's even more true. So Simpsons Hit and Run, and I remember someone talking about sort of parody in video games and how the uh and so uh and so the point was, you know, just because it's commenting on something doesn't make it like, it's still doing the thing, right? Like uh and it needs to do more than just like bring attention to itself and be like, wow, man, invisible walls sure do suck. It's like racist jokes aren't like saying something racist isn't a joke. Like, even if you're like giving it to a racist character, like it's not subversive, it's not anything. It's just you're just being, you're trying to get away with something under the guise of being self-aware, and it's like self-awareness does not absolve you of the sin of the thing that you did. Like, you can make a movie about sexualization that doesn't really sexualized. Uh, I don't have enough feelings on The Simpsons. Um, what do they say? The first four, like the really good ones. Watch those. I don't know. You know, um, just like it's possible to watch. It is possible to make a movie that features rape that is that like doesn't exploit that, right? Like it is possible to do those things. It's just extraordinarily difficult. um and I'm going to be honest, I didn't think about that when I was watching Blade Runner 2049. uh and whatever, that makes me a bad person, fine. I thought the whole scene with the like the duplicates and everything, like, man, what a cool scene. And that's really what I was thinking about. um um so I think satire works when it has a purpose, when it has a genuine purpose, like when they're really, um, like, you know, all satirical racism will feature racism, but like, I guess really what my point is, it was less that you can't do something, uh, than that you cannot hide behind calling something satire, because saying that something is like you need to be able to explain why it is important that you did something. Like if you listen to um if you listen to Jennifer Kent talk about why she felt she had to portray the assaults in The Nightingale, like it is very, very clear that there is a reason, but also there's no nudity in that. Like, and that was part of the thing. It's like, you can show rape and how horrible rape is, but the thing is, rape is not a sexual act. It's violence. And to sexualize it sort of inherently misses the point. Like you turn it into a titillating thing just sort of by virtue of uh to put it crassly, by having tits in it, right? Um like you can't, like, but there is a way to do it, um yeah. So I mean, as far as porn goes, sex workers are doing things consensually, right? Like that's how they make their money. More power to them. uh you know Alicia Vikander, her being, yes, uh yeah, for sure. But I would think, but even if you're like, you can't just say something satire. That's part of my problem. And that's the problem with like conservative comedy in general is like people just like, they say something racist and then they're like, it's a joke. It's like, what's the joke? Like, I know that explaining a joke removes the comedy behind it, but you also need to be able to explain it, you know, um, right? Like ultimately you need to be able to justify the things that you're saying. Like you can't just say shit. Like there needs to be a purpose behind it. Um and um I think, I think Ex Machina has nudity sort of by virtue, like it just sort of has to, right? Cuz she's like getting skin. um that one I feel like and like the way I actually think that Ex Machina does a really good job of um using nudity because like of the way um like there's literally like you can take the skin from one and put it on the other, and like his whole idea of like these are pleasure bots to um the Facebook man, what like Nathan. And it's like I think that movie does a really good job. Um, it's also not like uh gratuitous. Like there's no, and I've made this point before. Look, I can't pretend like I'm going to complain about there being like absolutely more nudity than is strictly necessary in a story, right? Um, Introduce The Social Network. Even though it's very unlike a lot of his other movies, The Social Network is, if they like disturbing movies, I would say 7. If they don't, The Social Network. Not Fight Club. Yeah. But I would prefer that whatever thing I'm watching, like Fight Club is very good, but I think it's just like, really? I think 7 is more brutal. I think The Social Network is his most accessible film. Yeah, you should start with Alien 3 and don't see Alien or Aliens. Just just go right into fucking Fincher's movie. Now, the thing about Fight Club is like obviously it has been, I mean, Fight Club is a really interesting case of like satire that like no one seems to have understood the satire. Uh, you know, and that is I liked Gone Girl a lot. Big fan of Gone Girl. Fight Club would be a better movie if we lived in a different world where people understood what it was actually about. Um, you know, if people didn't like just enjoy it for what it is rather than what they think it is. I saw a movie the other day and I was like, man, this is basically imagine Wes Anderson was Indonesian, and I loved it. There's a film called Abracadabra. Big fan. I like Wes Anderson. I haven't seen all of his movies, but the ones I have, I like a lot to varying degrees. Really like Rushmore. I love The Grand Budapest Hotel. I mean, he's got his very, very specific style can get kind of exhausting, but I do appreciate it when people really commit to something. Because and he definitely. What do I do in this? Oh, are you asking me what the purpose of this live stream is? I just talk. until I realized that we've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes, and I'm like, "Okay, I should probably stop doing this soon." Okay. At most another 15 minutes. That sound good to everyone? Yeah, we'll stop this at 5 PM. I have to watch 2 more fucking Charlie Kaufman movies. I haven't. I don't think I'm not sure that I've seen more than, like, 2 Swedish movies. Um, is Telma Swedish? No, Telma's Norwegian. Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen any Swedish movies, actually. I really liked David Fincher's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, since we're talking about David Fincher. Swedish movies. Oh, wait, Let the Right One In is Swedish, isn't it? Okay, well, there's one. Uh, and see the Square, that was good. Oh, wait. Yeah, I've seen a handful of gosh, what's his name? Um, Abracadabra was playing at the New York Asian Film Festival. Yeah, I was gonna say Ingmar Bergman. Um, I was like, I realized like, oh yeah, my favorite Ingmar Bergman film is Persona. I've seen probably 6 Ingmar Bergman movies. I need to see more of them, obviously, at some point. Um, fucking hit me up on Twitter. Do you have my at Alec J Kim? If you have Twitter, like tweet at me with a list of Swedish movies, and I'll put them on my list. Um, I've seen like 2 Jafar Panahi movies. Um, I haven't really seen. I'm not sure I've seen any Turkish movies. Um, yeah, or Arabic specifically. Yeah, I love Persona. I haven't seen it in a while. I need to see it again. But I mean, yeah, I love Ingmar Bergman. Obviously, how can you not, right? Um, I haven't seen The Virgin Spring. I probably never will. Oh, Das Leben der Anderen. Of course, I've seen. Of course, I've seen The Lives of Others. Great movie. I actually think I had to watch that for college, or someone I knew had to watch it for school, and I watched it with him. Someone was doing either me or someone else at a class. We were talking about like German policing in the during the Cold War. Yeah, I really like Lives of Others. I can understand why people think it's uh, a bit much. Like, there are a few moments that are a little like, really, like, when he's listening to music and suddenly he's crying, and you're just kind of like, really. Um, but also, it's so good and it's fine. I actually think about the lives of others a lot. Like I think about the idea that when someone has been falsely accused, they get angry, whereas when someone knows they did something wrong, they get sad. Um, oh, I've seen Hexon. So boom, look at me. um, I haven't seen the Phantom Carriage, but I did see Hexon. So, favorite P.T. Anderson movie. Um, favorite P.T. Anderson movie. Um, I've been thinking about this. Actually, I have I have 2 lists. Spoiler for the beginning of my next video. I have 2 lists of movies that I feel like I need to see. One, movies that I'm willing to admit publicly that I haven't seen, and 2, movies that I'm not willing to admit publicly that I haven't seen, but I haven't seen them. Um, and Magnolia is on the second list. um, my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie, The Master, I think. Um, yeah, probably The Master. I have not seen. Yusuf Shaheen. I'll look him up. Shaheen. Egyptian film director. All right, I'll keep this in mind. I do like trying to see. Yeah, I mean, so I was gonna say There Will Be Blood, right? Have a good night, Willow. Thanks for joining. I was gonna say There Will Be Blood, but I feel like that's such an obvious, like, generic answer. Um, and I think The Master really, like, gets. Yeah, I'm just gonna say The Master. Yeah, I haven't seen Magnolia. I haven't seen Punch Drunk Love, even though I have like the Criterion Blu-ray of Punch Drunk Love, and I just never watched it. Film Crit Hulk is putting out a book about Paul Thomas Anderson, so I will have to rewatch all of his movies for that. Fair. I was very sad about Chadwick Boseman's death, obviously. Yeah. I am generally with the consensus that they should not recast T'Challa, and I would rather they, I would rather, they sort of like. I definitely don't want them to CG him, and I also really would hate it if they like did what they did with Leia in Rise of the Skywalker, where they just like tried to repurpose other footage. I don't want either of those things. I would really just like, I remember reading at one point someone saying like, someone should, someone should. Let's see if I can. There we go. Man, nailed it. Someone said that the Rise of the Skywalker should have opened with a funeral for Leia Organa. And that felt very right to me, that like that would have been a really good way to introduce it, right? But instead they did like this, like, it was just so bad. Like, it looked bad, and it was just like bad from the outset. And like, they didn't start working on it until after Carrie Fisher had passed. So like they knew that. So like I genuinely don't understand. Like, I mean, I don't understand anything about the Rise of Skywalker, but like that part of it is definitely like the least justifiable thing that they did. Like, you can justify basically everything else by just saying who cares, it's Star Wars and it doesn't matter. But that one's like, yeah, it is what they, the way they like disrespected Carrie Fisher. It's just like, that's so gross. It really, really bothered me. But yeah, like if Black Panther 2 opened with T'Challa's funeral, I think that would be a really good, like, that would be the correct way to do it, right? Like, obviously that's not what the story was supposed to be. That's not what they wanted to do, but they're going to have to redo shit, like, regardless. And so it's like, how do you, what do you do? You just sort of, you rip off the Band-Aid at the beginning, and then you can give the actor and like the performance the send off that it deserves, as opposed to like awkwardly trying to like shoehorn something or whatever. Like, I haven't seen Tenet. It's not, none of the movie theaters near me are open, so I cannot. I would go see Tenet in IMAX, and I would stand in the back corner wearing my mask the entire time, like this. I really like masks that go around the head. If if you are ever wondering what kind of masks I like ones that as opposed to ones that go around the ear. They're much more pleasant to wear with headphones. Fun fact. Fun facts. Yeah, I mean, these are like, classic classic headphones. I actually don't wear these very often. I tend to wear my Bose quiet, comfort things. These are like my go-to headphones. You mean when did I start watching movies like international films? That's an interesting question. I actually don't know. I would say probably middle school. I had the MX3s, the Sony noise canceling ones, but they became uncomfortable after wearing them for like 4 hours because I wear these during my workday, literally all day, and these are the only headphones I've ever been able to wear for 8 hours straight, and not be bothered. Like these, I get sick of these by the time I'm done editing a video. I'm fair. So last TV show I watch, I'm in the middle of watching Agretzko season 3. Before that was Hannibal, and I will be, I'll review that somewhat. Partially self-taught. So photography, I never took photography classes. I took cinematography classes, although that was about lighting. So like I learned, but really I learned from like, dude, okay. The series finale of The Leftovers is definitely one of my 3 favorite episodes of television ever. Like the Book of Nora is so fucking good on just like every level. Like I love The Leftovers so much. Okay. I really liked Arrested Development. I haven't watched it recently. Be interesting to see how I feel like it holds up. But I mean, I learned a lot of it is honestly, a lot of my specific skills come from working with a friend of mine in college. He like I was cinematographer. Like I had done my own stuff, but I was cinematographer on his like thesis film. And if you watch my movies from before I worked on that project and after, there is a shit, lost my train of thought. Oh, it happens. Like there's a massive jump in quality. Like it's just like it's such a shift because being on his set, I just like learned a lot about lighting, and a lot of what I do I learned from him, really. So and then also me doing things myself and like figuring out, okay, well, if a light is here, it looks better, I think, than if it's here, right? Like, and if it's here, I get a specific effect. If it's here, I get a different effect. Like, a lot of it is just like, turning lights on, setting up the camera, and then like deciding from there, like, yeah, how does, how do I like it? How does it work? Yeah, I definitely, it's a combination of like, self-taught and learning on set from people who are better at it than I am. 100%. Not to spoil it, I find the 3rd season of Hannibal endlessly fascinating. And I actually liked the series finale a fair amount. I was expecting to be disappointed, and I was not. Yeah. I haven't seen Better Call Saul. I also haven't seen Breaking Bad. Oops. So the finale of BoJack Horseman is also incredible. That I actually considered making the finale of BoJack Horseman the first 10 out of 10 I ever gave. The third season of Hannibal is so strange because clearly it was meant to be 2 seasons. And so like man, so much shit happens. So something from BoJack could be the finale, could be some episode from BoJack has been like amazing. I don't even have the third one off the top of my head, but I feel like I can't say the Book of Nora is my top episode. Right? Like, because I'm sure someone could name something like, but definitely I think that I haven't seen either of those. I don't watch that much TV, to be honest, and I never really have. I there are a lot of shows like I like a lot. I really want to watch I May Destroy You. I've heard that's super good. There's just so much TV, guys. Like it's so much. It's just impossible to catch up with it. Even if I didn't want to, it's like, well, do I watch a movie or do I watch 5 movies or do I watch TV show? Attack on Titan is interesting and is Attack on Titan getting attention now? Oh wait, it's 5:00. I said I was going to stop doing this at 5:00. So does anyone have any final thoughts before I log off for yeah, right? So, okay. I think that's I think she was fantastic in Arrival. I love Arrival. I'm really interested in Denis Villeneuve's Dune, because he's definitely one of my favorite working directors. Like going back to Blade Runner 2049, like dude's so fucking good. I didn't see the Five Bloods, so I cannot speak to that. Okay. So yeah, cool. This has been this every 2 weeks or so, but every 2 to 3 weeks. I was doing them every like 10 days, but now it's really more like every 2 to 3 weeks. They're not explicitly scheduled. So the way I was doing it is I was going to do like a Wednesday and then the following Saturday and then the following Wednesday because there are people from all over the world in these chats, which I love. And it's like different people can, come in. Oh, hey, Gabriella, just in time to everyone leaving. But like, yeah, so there are people from all over. And so, I like doing, oh, hell yeah. So doing like a Saturday or Sunday early for me, or like, sometime between like noon and 3 is cool because then people from around like basically everywhere except like East Asia, except Jim Jam's from Indonesia and he's still fucking here. So, which I appreciate, but like, I'll get, so it's different, but I appreciate that people come and it's like, yeah, I mean, there are 14 people here and my guess is like, so we've got, Egypt, fucking Netherlands, Brazil, Gabriel is in Romania, right? I think. UK. We've got like fucking got everywhere, right? Which is super cool. Like I really enjoy that about these. Oh yeah, South Africa, Germany. I have so many fucking German people. Like, so this is actually the least German. Is anyone else from the US? Like, am I the only person in the US in this chat right now? Usually there's like 4 or 5 Germans, which is really interesting. You know, there's the usual Germans weren't here this time. You're at a wedding. Oh, interesting. Well, enjoy the wedding. Is it your wedding? As long as it's not, it better not be your wedding, because I would be very sad if you like left your wedding in order to like come to my live stream and then I'm ending it. Hell yeah, Massachusetts. I'm from Rhode Island, so relatable. Yeah, I know. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I do these approximately every 2 weeks. It's what I try. My goal really is I like to put out 2 videos in between each one of them, so that 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll be back. Right. Yeah, it's a real wired thing. Okay. Well, yeah, right. Yeah, no, it ain't gonna be no one else from Rhode Island anywhere, and that's okay. I don't need people I knew back in the day finding my fucking YouTube channel. I don't like that. That'll be a fucking day. Like when I get a Facebook message from like someone I went to fucking middle school with, and they're like, "Hey, do you really hate people who voted for Donald Trump?" I'll be like, "Yes, I do. Get out of my fucking life." Okay. So now all of you can look forward to my trap metal song about that. Okay. Yes, I had fun. Take care, folks. This has been fun, and we'll do it again in a few weeks. Take care, stay safe, wear a fucking mask, and yeah, catch y'all on the flip side or whatever. And watch the new fucking watch the new Charlie Kaufman movie. That's what I'm talking about next, and then like you can watch my review and have seen it. Okay. Bye.